Anthropic just released Claude Skills 2.0, and in this video, I'm going to show you what it is, why we should use it, and I'm also going to show you a live demo on how we can use this to measure, test, and improve our existing skills that we have in our current projects. And specifically, I'm going to walk you through how we can be able to write a skill, how we can be able to run the evaluations, and how we can be able to take the results that it has for the test, how we can be able to analyze it and continuously improve it until we have a Claude skill that have a higher accuracy. So with that being said, if you're interested, let's get into it. Alright, so before we jump in, a quick intro for those who are new here. My name is Eric, and I spent years as a senior software engineer at companies like Amazon, AWS, and Microsoft. And I have started this channel to share everything that I learned along the way, from AI encoding to automations, Web3, career developments, and more, all broken down into practical tutorials that you can actually follow. And of course, we also have a school community where you can get access to all the resource, templates, plus our community supports. So if you're ready to level up, make sure to check out my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Now let's get back to the video. And to understand why we should use Claude Skill 2.0, here you can see I have a diagram to show how we usually create skill. And for example, here you can see this is us, right? This is the user. We have our Claude code. We usually create our skill through conversations. Every conversation that we have with Claude code, we can simply say, hey, I want you to create a skill based on this conversation that we have and create a skill. And later on, what you can do with a skill is that you can be able to reuse it, you can be able to share this to other people and have other people here benefit from this. And the problem here is that once we have the skill created, there's no way for us to evaluate if this skill is good or not, especially when the model here starts to improve itself. For example, let's say right now we're at Opus 4.6. Maybe tomorrow there's 4.7 or Opus 5, Opus 7, and so much more. And let's say when we get to Opus 5, maybe the model here already has knowledge for the front-end design skill, already has knowledge for the marketing skill, already has the workflow on how to use Nano Banana too. So the skills that we have in our current project here might be obsolete. And even worse, if we still have those skills keeping around, it might cost us a lot of tokens because Claude have to trigger that. And even worse, it might cause inaccurate results because what if the latest model for Opus 5 already has the skill built in the model and the skills that we have in the current project is outdated. So that's why we need to have a way to evaluate if those skills are obsolete or still useful based on different models that we're using. And here you can see this is the diagram, right? So we have our skill eval cycle. And basically what it means is that whenever we try to write or improve a skill, we're going to have a layer to run all the evaluations with different scenarios. Is it pass or is it fail based on different scenarios that we set for the test. And once it passed, okay, we can be able to ship it to other people to use it. If it doesn't, then we can be able to analyze it, improve it. And let's say tomorrow, once a new model release, we can be able to continuously using the improvement loop here to improve the skills that we have. And basically that's the same thing how large companies are usually ship code. They have this CI/CD pipeline where every time when you push a code, for example, you write some code, it will basically run some tests like unit tests, end-to-end testing, integration tests, bunch of tests to see if the system is actually working. If it's working, great, we ship it. If it doesn't, then we're just going to continuously improve it until we have a better version. And that's basically how it works. Now, different type of skills has different type of evaluations. So in this case, let's go through this. First one is the capability skill, where let's say we set different rules, patterns, thinkings. We basically teach Claude how to think, how to behave or answer whenever we have this type of questions. And the way how we evaluate this is whenever we have a Claude skills, we try to check to see if the model here has caught up with that knowledge. Is it up to date? If yes, we keep it. If it doesn't, then we're just going to remove it. Right? And the other type of skill that we have is the workflow skill. Let's say we want to automate certain things, like code written in our code. We want to push it, run tests, verify the changes, build it, deploy. These are all set of workflows. We can be able to create a skill to automate this type of workflow. And the way how we evaluate this is to see if this workflow here is matched with the expected outputs. Is the workflow able to deliver what we're asking for? And pretty much you can see that's how it works. And to get to the bottom of this, the goal really is to see how we can be able to improve the accuracy of the skills that we write, because sometimes the model here improve and we want to also update our skill as well. And also we want to make sure that we consume less tokens, because let's say the model here already have this skill, right? Already have the skill built in, and you have to trigger another skill to do this, then it consumes a lot more tokens. So how can we be able to consume less tokens? By reducing the irrelevant skills that we have so they can be able to have more context and less AI hallucinations. So with that being said, now you understand, let's take a look at a practical use case on how we can be able to evaluate a skill that we have in our current projects. So to do so, here you can see I head over to Claude Code, and simply if you wanted to install the skill creator, all you had to do here, just do the /plugins, right? So you're simply just gonna do the /plugins and search for the skill that you want to create. And because I already have the skill, so I am just gonna click on the install one, search for the skill creator, which you can see I already have this installed. And if I want to view this skill, I can simply just gonna click on enter, and here it gives you a description of what this skill does. It helps you to create a new skill, improve the existing skill that you have, and even help you to measure the performance of a particular skill. So once you have this in place, what I want to do here is basically try to improve the Nano Banana ultimate skill that I created from the last video. And in that skill, it basically helps you to generate better accuracy image using Nano Banana 2 in terms of image generations, editing images, or image compose and batch generations. You can do all of those image generations in that particular skill, which I actually use it to create a bunch of images you can see here with a high accuracy for the text, and also the elements here, it shows very nice. So what I wanted to do here is basically I wanted to create a new skill and set up this skill performance here to see if it's actually good, and also be able to see if there's any way that we can be able to optimize it. And basically, specifically, I wanted to use this new skill here to create specifically only for the blog post, right? So I have a bunch of blog posts and I wanted to have a consistent style in terms of how we want to generate images for this. Because sometimes it could be generate an image like this, where we have like a bunch of backgrounds in the image you can see here, which I wanted to keep it consistent. So in this case, what I did here is basically trigger the skill creator skill here inside of the prompt. And excuse me for the long prompts. Obviously right now you can see Claude is really smart at detecting what I want to say, because I was using a voice to text feature. Sometimes the prompt that I have here is not really organized, but Claude is smart enough to figure out what I'm trying to say. But what I want to highlight here is basically I wanted to create a skill, right? You can see I create a skill specifically on how we can use this to create a specific blog post. So we have like a bunch of blog posts, and if we wanted to have the skill specifically creating images using Nano Banana 2 to creating those blog post images that we have, right? So here you can see I want you to create a skill for this, specifically inherit the original Nano Banana ultimate skill that we created from the last video, and create a new skill here specifically on how we're going to use this to create a similar format. So instead of what I want to do here is, excuse me for the long prompt, but basically what I want to highlight here is that I want to use this skill creator, right? This is what I have first to initialize the skill. And then what it then does is basically try to identify, okay, the existing blog images that it has, and try to establish the style for the DNA, like what's the background color, what do we use for generating those images, what's the logo look like. And then you can see it's going to ask me the scope, like, okay, what should the scope of this blog image skill cover? So what skill types should it handle? For example, it can be able to handle like cover images, it can be able to handle like in-article diagrams, or it can be able to also handle like fixing existing images and batch regenerations and stuff like this. I'm gonna select those all in single one skill, and I'm just gonna click on next. And here is the evaluation criteria. So how should we evaluate the image quality and the style consistency? What count as passing? So this is where we're gonna set up the test. This is what count as a good skill, and this is what count as bad skill, right? The visual difference against the reference. So use a reference image, for example, as the golden standard and compare the color palette, the style, the logo placement. Yes, I would say that's one of the tests. And the checklist based on the evaluation. So score based on the checklist, like the backgrounds, the green and black palettes, the hand draw style. So you can see that instead of like having me to create those tests, it gives me some recommendations or some options what I should choose for the evaluation criteria. So I'm gonna say yes to this as well. Human review, so generate 2 to 3 variation first, display them, and then you pick the best one. Yes, I would like to have a human in the loop as well, and a side-by-side comparison. So show the old image next to the regenerate image for your approval before you placing. And obviously, I don't think we really need this, but I think the above 3 here is probably good enough. And next thing you can see is gonna ask about the logo handling. So should the skill handle the book 0B logo in the bottom right corner? So it's asking me if we want to bake into the prompt, or we're gonna compose the overlay. So generate image without logo, and then we're gonna use Willow here, which is a Python library here, to compose the logo into the bottom right corner of the image. So I think that this is probably more guaranteed and also less token consumption. So I'm not gonna choose this compose overlay option recommended over the baked into the AI prompt, right? So because sometimes AI might hallucinate, and having a programmatic way to do it is probably more efficient. So next one is basically try to see how should we verify the test. So there's a dry run, which will basically try to validate the prompts before we call in the tools. I will say this is a good one as well. So also test with one blog post to see if it actually works. If it's actually able to generate some image, right? Compare against the current one that we have to see if it actually works. So I will say test with a small test case, that's good. And that's when we we have is the auto report command, which basically scans all the files inside of the blog folder and try to generate a report to see which one passed and which one need fixing. The next one is basically the cost and budget. I don't think we need that, so I will probably not include it in this test. So once I submit this, what's going to happen here is it's going to define those evaluations, and it's going to build the skill with the right evaluation criteria that we just set. So in this case, let's wait for a bit until it fully generates. All right, so now you can see that the skill here is fully generated. It's called the blog image generator skill, and here is where it lived, and here is the file that it created. And here you can see these are the stuff that I inherited from the Nano Banana Ultimate, which is the generate image and edit image directly from the parent skill. And now logo is composed through Willow, which not big into the AI prompt is going to be guarantee a consistent placement every time using that file. But most importantly, this is the test that it generates to test the skill. So here is where it generates, so you're simply just going to go to here, never touch this folder right here during test, and use the test flag here or output tag to basically specify the temp path. And also you can use the dry run mode here to validate the prompts and be able to validate the style compliance without calling the API. And most importantly here, you can see it gives you the test command on exactly how you can run this, right? For example, I can be able to do Python run and try to mock the API here to see if it's able to call those right prompts. We also have the audit existing images here to see which one needs works, and also generate the test coverage to the temp folder here, which you can see. And from there, you're just simply going to tell Claude, hey, I want you to run the dry run and see if it actually works. And it will basically go ahead and try to do the dry run. And it'll ask you if you want to do the cover image or the diagram image. If you want to say both, it will basically try to generate those things. And you can see 7 out of 7 here, the style has passed. And let's say if you want to do this for all of the existing images, you can also do that as well. And you can see 92 out of the 93 images here have passed. And the one that hasn't passed, you can just continue to prompt it. And then you can literally just prompt it and then try to have it to apply the fix, improve the skill, and eventually be able to adjust the test, the skill all together so that you have a better accuracy for the skill. And you can see that now all tests are passed. Here you can see this is what we're looking for. And now this is what the style look like, which is what it generates to a more consistent color on the background. And also the logo here, you can see at the bottom right corner, which is awesome. And of course, let's say down the road, you wanted to modify the skill and you also wanted to modify the test. And after you modify the test, you just tell it to run it again. And you basically say, okay, well now based on the new requirements that you have, 44 images are now failing. And here you can see 19 images are clean. You can double check and say, okay, what are the clean images that you reference to? Can you tell me exactly which 44 images are failing so I know exactly what you're talking about? So I can be able to literally have it to clarify what exactly he's saying. And then once I have it to clarify, okay, what are the files are passing? And then I will basically look at each of those files that are passed and see and try to label them. Okay, these are not passing and I want you to double check them. And here you can see and now see the difference now. And now you can see it gives me a set of images that went through the test, which looks good. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Awesome. Okay. So what makes them good is because they're clean, their background, the pure and simple, and also the crisp logo and the minimal clutter. You can see that I'm basically using prompting here to let it define the test cases, right? And try to see, okay, this is the input, this is the output, this is what's good, this is what's not good. And I want you to kind of like train the test to basically try to check to see this is exactly what we want. And then this is the failing images that I have labeled, right? So I can confirm those. And then here it also gives you the root cause of why it mistakenly think that these are passing. And also what the audit needs. So this is the new requirements that it has. So the new checks that we need to add, like the background color, the background uniformity, which is like, see the paper is grain texture. So these are the two checks that it has added into the test. So I don't have to write any single test. I just have to talk to Claude to find those test cases and let it embed it into the test evaluation that it has. And it's just gonna add the detection here and then check that and basically go from there. And I'm just gonna say, yes, let's try to fix all of this and make sure to update our test. And now what's really interesting here, you can see it has updated the skill, right? And also has given me the results that, okay, currently we have 11 passed and 52 are failed, right? So that's something that we're going to improve. And I asked it, do you generate it based on the failed test? No, I have not regenerated the failed images. So far, it has only just updating the skill and also updating the audit threshold, which is our evaluation. And it's asking me if you want to just generate a small test batch to verify the prompts to see if it actually works. I'm gonna say, yes, let's do that. And what happened underneath it, you can see it start to pick up the 5 failing tests. And you can see here that it's basically self-fixing itself by just recalling the threshold that it sets and generate the related images and try to evaluate again and continuously fixing itself until it has a perfect scale. And eventually you can see after it fixes itself for the scale based on the threshold that we set, and now you can see that it has finished fixing the scale and it has regenerated those 5 images with the passing audit, which you can see now. This is the results, right? You can see this much more clean, much more cleaner look. And this is another image, right? So this is what it looks like. So it's much more cleaner, right? We don't have the folded background. Obviously, there's still a lot of things that's not consistent, but I'm just showing an example that you can be able to continue perfect it until it behaves in a certain way. And also the logo here are clearly displayed at the bottom, which is what we set. This looks good. I wanted to perfect it for all the failed tests. Can you do that, please? Okay, so eventually here you can see it has all the 63 images has now passed, and it has done that for all the images. You can see that if I were to click on a random image in the blog, here you can see this is what it looks like. So you have the complete white background, which you can see here. So I have also commit this change, and that's pretty much how it works. And of course, if you're looking to get the refined version of this Nano Banana 2 Ultimate Skill, I will make sure to put this inside of the school community and in the zip folder so that you can be able to download it and use it right away. So pretty much that's it this video. In this video, we went over what is Claude Skills 2.0, and I also show you a live demonstration on how you can be able to write a skill, how you can be able to refine a skill, be able to run the evals, be able to see the results on what it passed and what it failed, and try to improve that skill and have Claude Code here to improve its own skill based on the threshold that you set until we have 100% accurate results. So pretty much that's it for this video. And if you do find value in this video, please make sure to like this video, consider subscribe for more content like this. But with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.